Alright everyone, we have to talk about browsers again because it was like less than 48 hours after I made my last video on the subject of Pale Moon, switching off like Chrome and stuff, how I recommended Pale Moon above the others, and some people point out Waterfox. I did try that, but I liked Pale Moon better. For other people, maybe Waterfox is better. There are some other derivatives too. There was a story about how Firefox is now going to combat fake news, which means combat the alt media generally, or entertainment media as it may be, the entertainment apparatus. It's like the weekly world news for the online world. They're going to combat it using various filters and algorithms, which means Firefox has decided, after getting a large sum of money apparently from George Soros, no less, yeah, fake news is a problem. We've got to, like, stop this. Now, why did people use Firefox in the first place? There were two big reasons that Firefox became a dominant force within developing its browser. Number one, it simply worked better, especially in the time before Chrome. When you're talking about still most people using Internet Explorer, most people started getting the realization, hey, it's not really working for us anymore. It's slow, it's insecure, it looks like crap. Microsoft drags its ass on actually developing Edge, which, actually functions. I'm not going to use it, but it at least functions. This is a problem. Firefox comes along very quickly. Around the time of Facebook first rising up, Firefox begins to go on its own meteoric rise as well, because it was more stable. It was faster. It was easier to use. More compatible with things after a while. It was just better. The other reason was really more a privacy and anti-big tech corp feeling, I think, where people are like, well, this is the good guy browser. They're the ones, they stood up against SOPA, and they stand up against censorship and try to be fair and things. Well, obviously they've abandoned the latter, and as for the former, there are now other browsers that work better than Firefox. Pale Moon is one of them. It is a quicker browser. Some people are like, oh, well, it has like data leakage or something. I've never noticed any problems with it. With Firefox, every time they roll out a new update, this is another problem with them. Every time they update, it stops working properly. To the point at which I hold off usually until 2 or 3 more permutations of Firefox have been released to actually update to the older one that became available. The reason I do that is because I know if I just update right now, it's going to screw up. I'm going to have to revert it. I'm going to have to reinstall it again. I'm going to have to do a clean reinstall. Every time they have an update, it's not like with some browsers. They auto-update, or you just click, you get a prompt, oh, an update's available, and you update and things work fine. It's not like that. With Firefox, it's more, oh, yeah, this is basically a non-working test platform that we're giving to you. We want you to use it because somehow that's more secure. You should do that, and every time you do, it starts having issues. It has issues. I continuously, for the last 6 months or so of using my last computer, and certainly for the first week or so that I was using this one, so I know it has nothing to do with any problem on my end, it would suddenly crap out and stop working. Everything has to be reloaded. I have to log back into all my fucking accounts. Facebook had real problems on it. Not that that bothers me too much because I'm not on Facebook constantly, but, be that as it may. It had problems with loading videos. It just had problems with everything. It's growing less and less stable over time. But if they start partnering with Soros to combat fake news, so what's the point of using Firefox then? What's the point if the two reasons why you were probably using it in the first place are both bullshit now? Why would you still use it? Pale Moon is basically the more stable, faster, hey, we're taking a hands-off approach to everything version of Firefox. Waterfox supposedly is the same. I didn't have long enough to bother, I'm not going to sit there using it for a week just to figure out, oh yeah, what's this, no, it's just not going to happen. So I would encourage you, and probably some tens of thousands of you probably use Firefox. You should stop using Firefox. Some people are pointing out, oh, there's another browser called Brave, and that one's good. I've never used it. A lot of people seem to think it's great. Maybe it is. Maybe I should try that out at some point. But I'm going to stick with Pale Moon because it works. It's fast. It's stable. They're not going to fuck around with some algorithm or try to suppress certain sites over others, which is a form of censorship. When one of these tech firms says, we're going to crack down on fake news, it's just a form of censorship. Adults should know you should be able to tell whether it's satire or not. If you can't, you're a moron, and it's not going to make any difference if they're suppressing the so-called fake news anyway, because you're a moron. You'll be believing what you see on CNN anyway. That's fake too. Who cares? So, screw Firefox. Its derivatives are now way better than Firefox. There was a time when it was the browser to use. What were its competitors? Built-in Chrome spyware. Hey, Google wants more of your user data. They want to know literally everything about what you do. Or as a counterpart, Internet Explorer. Yeah, that's a laugh. There are still people that use it too. I mean, what are you thinking? Last time that was good, wasn't it? Version 6 or something like that. I can't even remember because it's been so long since I used it, but I know there were 3 or 4 major versions of it after I stopped using it, each one steadily less reliable than the former. Firefox is going down the same route. It's not that I have a problem. It's like, I think it was over a year ago. Was it their CEO or something, was rambling about sexism or something like that, and I didn't bother switching off Firefox at the time because I'm like, well, that's your opinion, dude, and you're not fucking around with Firefox based on these weird opinions you have, so I don't really care. Now they are, though. They're partnering, apparently, if tale is true, with George Soros himself. He's like, oh yeah, the Open Society Foundation is going to give Firefox money, and you should fight fake news. Well, yeah, I wonder why. Yeah, a multi-billionaire, perfect, wonderful, benevolent, perfect human being, who helped to get people killed by Nazis many years ago. A wonderful, glorious person gave us a bunch of money. All of a sudden, we're developing a filter to fight fake news. Okay. Now, this isn't propaganda and censorship. It's benevolent. Okay, I believe that totally. No, I don't think I do. I think that I'm definitely not using Firefox. And it's sad because Firefox was sort of the good guy, one of the major good guys, major good players of the whole internet there. For years and years, they stood against all forms of censorship and manipulation and propaganda and all these things. Now they're saying, oh, well, it's such a big problem. We gobbled down these millions of dollars. We have to do something about fake news. Can you really trust them anymore? So if it's getting less stable, if it's less useful on the end of actual physical use of the browser, so that's going by the wayside. That's a major compelling reason to switch anyway. There are a million browsers out there. You've got no reason not to. It's not like 10 years ago and you got 3 choices. It's less usable, and it's less noble. It's less like privacy and anti-censorship centric as it was in the past. Why would you use Firefox? Hopefully it goes the way of Internet Explorer. I really mean that. The other browsers that are based on its code in one way or the other, those are fine. They all perform their functions, and it's just great. But Firefox doesn't. Rather sad. That's about all. Peace out.